Peter, welcome to the Home and Garden Show, the first
very
one
much.
we've done. You're obviously very local, so you know Whitehaven well.
Yeah, it's been about a 15-minute commute for me today, so it has been really nice. I had to make a 4-hour commute yesterday because I was in London, but got home, slept in my own bed, and then came here, and the sun is out. It's beautiful today.
It makes Whitehaven look wonderful, doesn't it?
It does. You just pray for great weather on festivals, and we got it.
Have you been to have a look down the stalls around the event?
I haven't yet, but I'm going to be all over that. I love just getting in there and just seeing what the amazing producers that we have in Cumbrian have been up to. You know, we've had the winter, you know, we're into the end of spring and early summer now, and I'm sure all those artisans have been working on things over the winter, and it's time to rummage around, and as a chef, you're as good as the ingredients you work with, and so I need to make sure I engage with those guys.
John was saying something very similar about us having fabulous ingredients in Cumbria in general.
Peter, I've only been in Cumbria 10 years now, and I'm from Leicestershire originally. I love Cumbria, massive Cumbrian produce. Some of the best. While we're talking about that, you have come up with sausage for this very event.
I did, yeah. I got chatting to Gerard, and I kind of. The creativity of my job is what I love, and it makes me a bit like a kid in a sweet shop. And what I love to do is create things, and I like to create things that are genuinely really great, not just for the sake of creativity for the sake of creativity. I wanted to make something that just really kind of tried to encapsulate West Cumbria, because I've travelled all over the county, I've travelled all over the country, and a lot of Europe working, and I always look back and kind of in Cumbria we're known for Cumberland sausage, sticky toffee pudding, and you know, that's pretty much it, and there's so much more to it, and I live in West Cumbria, and I just genuinely feel like sometimes we get misrepresented, like the poor relation, and I wanted to give something back if I could that stood head and shoulders all by itself for being West Cumbrian. So it was the West Cumberland sausage.
I mean, to be honest, it's the same with me. That's one of the reasons I got involved in it in the first place, was because I felt that Cumbria was getting a bit of a rough end of the stick, really, and I just wanted to say, oh, hang on a minute, we've got some fantastic produce on our doorstep. We need to shout about this one. So you've teamed up, you've come up with this sausage. You've teamed up with Jefferson's rum.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I took beautiful pork sausage meat, and what I did was I took the Jefferson's rum, because the rum story for me is kind of that one thing that a lot of people, it's almost like a common denominator that people know Whitehaven for. I know there's a lot more to it, but it's the common denominator. I filmed there previously on a Channel 4 show that I did, and I wanted to try and do something with it, and I thought, I can't do rum and raisin ice cream, you know, that's not very creative, is it? So what I did was I took the raisins and I soaked them in rum, a little bit of honey, and they really plumped up. And then I kind of thought France, prunes, pork. Right, okay, here's where it's going, and it starts to lead you down a path, and I'm thinking, do you know what? Sweetness inside the Cumberland sausage, that's going to work. So I then soaked the raisins, chopped them all up a little bit, like quite coarse, so you know you're eating it. Mixed it up with the sausage meat, a little bit of Cumberland mustard, parsley, you know, flat leaf parsley, curly parsley drives me mad. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a flat leaf man myself.
Bugbear.
It is a chef thing.
And it's a nightmare to chop, and it just looks like something out of the 1980s. So, flat leaf parsley in there, and we made the sausages. Now, I don't claim to be a good butcher, but I can make sausages. It's a lot of fun. It's worth a try. And I said to Gerard, look, I've made this. It's for Whitehaven. It's for West Cumbria. It's just, you know, there's no commercial incentive for me. It's something I came up with, and I just want the butchers to do it. Just make it.
And that's been launched today. Am I right?
Well, we launched it to the press for the festival, and I launched it to the butchers of West Cumbria and said, look, just make it, own it, have it. And they've been making it, and they've been selling it, and I do you know what, I hope, if nothing else, it's a little tiny legacy.
Well, this is it.
A little tiny one.
This is exactly it, and that's really good.
But for me, that's the future of British gastronomy. It's fusing a few ideas from wherever you like in the world, but bring it right home and apply it, and make sure that the creativity, there's something genuine there. And ultimately, it creates a great product. And if it doesn't create a great product, then forget it, move on. But I think it really has made beautiful sausage. We tested it. I was really nervous when we launched it. We tested it out on.
Well, I couldn't get there. I was planning on being there, but I couldn't get there.
Well, I had some, and I have to say it was absolutely delicious.
Yeah, and we tested it. Butchers were eating it, and I was like, oh, you know. But they loved it, and do you know what? They've embraced it. And sometimes when you bring something out new, there's a little bit of resistance until they've tried it, but not here. They've just embraced it, and that's brilliant.
So can people access that recipe themselves to have a go? Because we should experiment more with cooking, shouldn't we?
Do you know what? It's really easy. You know, you can get my village. I live in Brigham. My village shop makes sausages, and I just went and got some sausage skins off them, some hog skins, and I just put it in, mixed, got the mince. You know, even if you just get plain pork sausage meat, mix it with whatever you like. You know that you want to try, and then put it in a piping bag. And just it's good if it's two of you because it's quite tricky to do on your own, isn't it? And just make some and stick it on the barbecue. But if anyone wants a recipe, if there's any butchers watching, just email me, tweet me, Facebook me. It's there to share. And you know, and I just want it to grow, and I want West Cumbria to absolutely own it.
And your passion's obviously coming across, which is for Cumbria, which I think is fantastic. You are in the process of just about opening up a cookery school.
I am. I'm just. My restaurant is based in the Rheged Visitor Centre, so part of the Westmoreland Group, owned by the Dunnings, an amazing family. You couldn't get a better ambassador for Cumbrian food than that family. They eat, sleep and breathe it. And they wanted to work with me and I wanted to work with them, so we opened a restaurant in there, and for me it's all about delivering contemporary, slightly playful food, nostalgic. You know, nostalgia is a very strong emotion with food, and familiarity I think is very strong. So we've created a very sort of relaxed cafe environment, but delivers on quite an attentive level.
Well, I've been in a few times, so
have you? Great.
I have as well. Thoroughly enjoyed
Good.
it.
Well, do you know what? I don't want it to take itself too seriously. Ultimately, I want to deliver you a great piece of food. Pretense, I can't bear pretense when it comes to food. And for me, it just felt like a really natural, evolutionary, progressive thing to just open a cookery school. So I've taken on the old chocolate shop, which is in Raisin. So it's got two massive big glass windows. I've put in 8 units in there, and basically I'm opening a cookery school, and the other half of the cookery school is my development kitchen and a dining table where we eat lunch. And it's all about, I've got an amazing tutor in there who's going to teach with me. She's going to teach some classes, I'm going to teach some, and we're going to do some together. And people just get to spend the day immersed in my way of cooking. And that'll be baking, that'll be breads, it'll be local produce, it'll be Tuscan produce, you know, Tuscan style dishes, because Tuscany is somewhere I'm really... The ethos of Tuscan food is very similar to the ethos here. The produce is completely different, but the ethos is the same. And we're very close to the produce. And I think that's what we are here, and we're very, very good. And there's a lot of people, myself, who are really just trying to sort of take the produce to the next level, not the cooking, the produce, and deliver it on an accessible level.
Yeah, well, we spoke about this earlier on. We spoke to Jon Christophe earlier on as well, and I think that in the next year, 2 years, it's the way that I think cookery's gone to an immense level. But now I think it's going to get stripped back. We're going to go back to basics. We're going to actually look at the produce and actually treat it with respect and cook it to the best that we can, and let the produce actually speak for itself.
Yeah. I mean, kind of 10 years ago it was all about the chef, all about the celebrity chef, and then it's kind of moved now. It's swung towards the producers, and I think that's right.
Sure.
It's our job to just take it in the back door. It's our job to just receive the goods in our kitchen and then deliver it through the pass on the plate and away. And we are as good as the producer we cook with, but we have to cook. We have to select the right ingredients for the right job, and I think that's where a lot of people at home fall down. It's about the right cut of meat or the right vegetable for the right job. And if you select the right product and a good quality one at that, half your work's done.
And I think and you've touched on this as well, it's actually respecting the product as well, isn't it?
It comes with age though, doesn't it? In your 20s,
thanks for reminding me that.
in your 20s as a chef, you want to roll everything.
Thank you.
In your 20s, you want to turn it into this and that and the other, and roll it in a tube and do this and do that and do the other. And then you get into your 30s, and people like Steve, our fishmonger, that we both share the same fishmonger, will just go, "Hey Pete, I've got this." Out you go, look in the van, just got this big fish. You don't want to do anything.
I've been down there actually. I've just been down there to meet.
You don't want to do anything more than bake it as a whole fish, and that comes with a bit of age and experience, doesn't it? And you don't want to do too much. So for me, the cookery school is very much about people coming in and learning how to cook with amazing produce. I'm not going to come in and teach them how to be chefs, although we are going to be running a few courses for people who want to get into the industry.
Sure.
And I also want to be able to offer, like yourself, the opportunity to take the cookery school on for the day and teach your customers your food. Because it's not just about me and my food, it's a facility. And I want that facility, I want to share it as well. So I open it out to anyone who's got an amazing restaurant, cafe, bakery, deli, and if they think they've got customers that want to spend the day learning more about the food these guys immerse themselves in, get in touch.
I think, again, we've touched on this earlier, I think people have got this perception that cooking is difficult, and it isn't if you treat the produce with respect, cook it well, you don't start fanning around with it too much, and just let it do its thing.
I think what chefs are very good at now is we start with an ingredient, we don't start with a dish.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I've not met you before.
No.
We've spoken on Twitter, but I know straight away the kind of chef he is, and I can tell from his food it starts with an ingredient. It doesn't start with, oh, I'm going to make this. It's, I've got this. What am I going to make? And that is a beautiful, organic way of cooking.
Well, it's the way that we do. We spoke about, we're both friends with Steve, the guy that we use with fish, and that is how we work. He'll just either ringers, or he'll just turn up with this fish, that fish. You don't know what you're going to get, and it enables us to think and think, right.
It pushes you. So some days you'll get a little tempura, a monkfish, a scallop, a langoustine, and a little piece of smoked haddock. The next week you might get some fresh pollock. You know, you might get. We've had lobster, we've had crab. You know, we've had sea bass. Where else are you going to get? Lobster on your fish and chips, or a beautiful king scallop. And for me, the best way to cook a scallop is in batter, because it kind of encases it, and it means that the scallop is steamed. It is amazing. We take the scallop roe, we dry it, we grind it, and we fold it into either the flour that we pane it in, or into the batter. So you get this wonderful, natural, peppery flavour, and it pushes me, it pushes my chefs, and it's a bit of fun for Steve. It's not just knocking out 10 kilos of haddock.
And I think as well, you've said rightly so as well. Of course, your customers aren't expecting it. Your customers, because at the end of the day, what we do, it's not about what we think. It's at the end of the day, the customers have to be happy. Because you don't cook, like Peter said, 10, 15 years ago, it was all about the chefs cooking what they wanted to cook. Now, you've got to cook what the customers want.
If you want to stay in business, you've got to cook for your customers, not for egos. And I think, really, it's just knowing your customers as well. You've got to know them. Gone are the days where a chef could just hide themselves in the kitchen and never come out.
Well, you two are both perfect examples of chefs communicating differently now. You're both on Twitter and that, and you've developed an app now as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the 21st century, it's all about communication. And you know, I've written 4 books now, and they take a lot of work. They take a year from signing the deal. That's before you come up with the idea and sell it to a publisher. The day you sign the deal, it won't hit the shelves for 12 months. And then it's only in this country. We now have smartphones and tablets and computers and everything else. And for me, that is our source of information. So I've spent the last year developing an app called Simply Good Food by Peter Sidwell. And it's very simple. All it is an app where I can launch little bundles of 15 recipes. So weekend cooking, midweek suppers, fish recipes, baking and bread recipes are the ones that I've launched with. So it allows you to buy what you want. You can buy small price, 15 recipes, you get beautiful photographs, you get little recipes, little tips. This is how you make the skin super crispy on that fish.
Sure.
And then you flip it over, and a dash of wine and a bit of butter keeps it beautiful and moist underneath while it roasts in the oven. Done. That's the only tip you need.
Yeah.
You don't need a 20-minute recipe.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to watch it. People switch off after a minute, unfortunately, if you're lucky.
Spans, yeah.
Where our attention spans have gone like that. Yeah. So for me, and it also puts me on a global marketplace, because all my TV shows that I've done are distributed all over the country. I've spent the past 3 months on Italian primetime TV.
Yeah.
My Italian's amazing.
Right, okay.
I've been dubbed. It's amazing. The accent, the pronunciation, it's fantastic. You know, America, Canada, New Zealand, Thailand, Russia. It all goes out there. You don't realise that.
You could find ways of communicating with those people that are watching
yeah.
TV shows.
So you take that, and it also, you know, it's taken me a long time to get to sort of the national profile, you know, ITV, Channel 4, things like that. It also allows chefs to be able to compete at the same level.
Yeah.
You know, you decided you wanted to do an app. Yeah. In this day and age, you can do it.
Well, and Peter's right, because I lose count of the number of tweets I get in a week asking me, I'm going to do this. What shall I do? I've got this. What do I do with it? Da-di-da, and I'd need a day just to answer all of them. So Peter's right, having an app there, what a fantastic
And also from a chef's point of view, not limited number of seats in your restaurant. Not everyone can access your restaurant, so it allows people to access you and your ideas. And we're in a generation now of thought and sharing. You know, thinking about food and we're sharing it. And I. 20 years I've been cooking, and do you know what? I'm really comfortable in my skin. I'm quite happy to share what I do. I don't want to be judged or whatever, but that's me. That's where I'm at the moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Lovely. All done?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Peter.
Pleasure. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
All right. In reality.
Yeah.